now want to go to one of the top political operatives in the country and someone who's been talking about this for years, Roger Stone. First off, Roger, I want to, from the entire Breitbart team, offer our condolences. Your mother, I know your beloved mother, passed away here over the last week, and our prayers are with you, your family, and your mother.
Thank you, Steve. That's very kind and very appreciated. Well, it's one less vote for Donald Trump. What can I say?
But she's looking down on you from a higher place and a better place, and hopefully sending you good signals so you can continue to be the great strategist you are. As you look at this situation, and yesterday, particularly with the President of the United States and the Democratic nominee refusing to use the word radical Islam, and we've had people like Dr. Hamid on for 3 hours last night, and then to get experts in this that say it's just no question about it. What is it about the leadership and the elites in our country that refuse to look reality in the face?
Well, it's not politically correct. It is the coalition they have in mind involves these folks. They would like to bring literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of illegal immigrants from this part of the world into the country so they can vote them, so they can get into the system. And it is not too early to analyze the politics of this. Yesterday was a horrific day for those people killed, horrific day for the country, but there's little doubt in my mind that this is going to redound to the benefit of Donald Trump, only in the sense that he has said from the beginning that we have to close our borders, that our borders are in essence porous, and that we are bringing in, along with a lot of good folks.
But Paul Ryan, but the pious right immediately said that's not really American values. He doesn't really represent people that believe that are haters or nativists. I remember when Donald Trump brought this point up after the San Bernardino situation, saying, hey, we just got to get control because, as Jeff Sessions said last night on the show, no government official has been able to tell him on these committees that we have any control of chain of title of who from Muslim-dominated countries, who they really are. There's just no way to know it. You can't vet them. But Donald Trump mentioned... Trump's
response to that has been superb. He says it's not bigotry or racism, it's common sense. This is self-preservation. Look, I also think that now that Islamic terrorism is going to be front and center, there's going to be a new focus on whether this administration, the administration of Hillary Clinton at state, was permeated at the highest levels by Saudi intelligence and others who are not loyal Americans. I speak specifically of Huma Abedin, the right-hand woman, the now vice chairman or co-chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Breitbart has initially established, as has Vanity Fair and a couple mainstream publications, that she has very troubling ties to a man who was directly tied to funding terrorism, Abdullah Omar Nassif. And I have a very hard-hitting piece coming up in Breitbart that lays this out chapter and verse. It's not just Huma; it's her mother and her father who are hardcore Islamic ideologues.
Roger, you talked about her mother. When I got a security clearance, they checked my parents out. They checked everything out. How did Huma Abedin? She was the right-hand woman over the State Department. She must have had she had to have top secret or above security clearance. How did that happen?
That's an excellent question, because you can tie her directly to two interrelated global charities that were directly financed by the Saudi government, and in turn were being used by bin Laden to finance his operations. So, the Bush administration, I think, bent over backwards to expose none of this. That continued under Obama. She has a very troubling past. She comes out of nowhere. She seems to have an enormous amount of cash, even prior to the time that she goes to work for Hillary. So we have to ask, do we have a Saudi spy in our midst? Do we have a terrorist agent? I mean, I went back and checked this last night. Several media organizations, including the Atlantic, report that it was she and Cheryl Mills who went through every one of Hillary's emails to determine what should be preserved and what should be destroyed. That would mean, by definition, that she had access to top-secret classified documents. Who is this woman? Where did she come from? I think that is going to be a major, major issue. And what is her relationship with Hillary Clinton? I think this all gets adjudicated in this campaign.
Let me ask you one question, Roger. Is what would you like to see with Huma? What type of should she be questioned? Should the FBI question her? I mean, what should really happen here?
Well, look, I think we know that in this campaign, sometimes the only way issues get raised is when the candidate himself for the Republican Party raises them. I'd like to see Donald Trump ask a series of questions publicly about Huma and her relationship. I'm not talking about her personal relationship at this point. I'm talking about her political relationship and the fact that her family seems to be deeply tied to the Muslim World League, which is indisputably involved in terrorism in this country.
Roger,
the only way this is going to spill out into the mainstream media, even when Vanity Fair wrote an excellent piece on this, the defenders of Hillary, the Media Matters for America crowd, who see no evil, hear no evil, etc., were immediately trying to distort and discredit that article, even though every word of it, I believe, was accurate. So Harper's, Atlantic, several other mainstream media organizations have dared to print this story beyond Breitbart, but the only way it's going to cross over into the mainstream, the only people are going to focus on it, is if Trump himself raises the question.
Roger,
and he's raised it once.
Yeah, but your new piece that's coming up on Breitbart, and I know Lee Stranahan and others are all over this too, so it's going to be quite insightful. Roger Stone's going to have a big piece, and plus we're going to have this interview up on the site today and then push it out on Facebook. Roger, thank you very much for joining us on Breitbart News Daily.
Great to be here.